grab you a cup of coffee, and today we are going to be talking about homeschooling at Christmas. Hey everyone, I know it is super loud in here because I've got a space heater going like right beside me, but we are in freezing temperatures like all day today, and it is so cold in our house right now. So we're trying to keep the heaters running for now and try to keep it pretty constant right now. So yeah, the heaters are just going to be constantly going. Doesn't matter what room we're in, it's just going to be a thing for right now. But today we are here to talk about all things Christmas and homeschooling. So just for a quick review for those of you who are new, hi, I'm Alicia, and I am a homeschool mom of 4, and my husband Matthew works full-time, which puts most of the schoolwork on me. He does help teach in the evenings on some of the tougher subjects. He's better at math and science, and I'm better at history and literature. So I'm more history and literature based, also in like a lot of my counseling and helping that I do, because I'm also an unofficial homeschool counselor that and I answer people's questions and emails, and I go to like homeschool groups and help support new homeschool moms and things. I currently have 2 11th graders, 1 9th grader, and 1 8th grader who skipped a grade. So I have 2 honor students. I have 1 severely dyslexic, and I have 1 like borderline dyslexic, but also borderline like honors classes. So like I have a really wide spectrum of the scope of teaching for my kids. One of the times a year though that I try to be a little more flexible, and I'm filming in the office today because Christmas time, I have a lot to do. One of the times a year I try to be more flexible is Christmas time. I love kind of taking a step back from a lot of the traditional homeschool stuff and working more off of the unschooling method for Christmas. So if that's something that interests you, then go ahead and keep watching the video. If you absolutely hate Christmas and you still clicked on this video, I might jokingly call you a troll in the comments section. But yeah, today is all about Christmas. I know I recently did one of homeschooling through the holidays, and I wrote down several things and talked with you guys through the things that I wrote down of encouragement of things that we do for homeschooling through the holidays. This one is totally 100% Christmas specific of things that we do. So today, instead of going like grade by grade or just points about specific things, I'm going to go subject by subject. So the 4 basic subjects of school, whether you're in like starting kindergarten or even pre-K all the way up until like at least my 11th graders. I don't have experience with 12th grade yet. I do with 11th grade. There's 4 basic classes. There's literature, there's math, there's science, and there's history. Everything else is an elective. But that basically covers those 4. Health is technically under science. Like it's under elective for high school and science. It's really a weird fuzzy area. But the basis is those 4 plus the electives. So that's kind of how I'm going to go through it today, is go through the 4 basic core classes, and then I'm going to go through electives. So what do we do, number 1, for literature at Christmas time? And if you have followed us a while, you know that number 1 of our biggest things is we love movies as literature. So the first thing that we did was when we did our movies as literature, writing out the curriculum for this year, I told all of my kids, this is your criteria for what you're choosing for movies as literature. My 9th grade student was supposed to pick a movie from the movies as literature book, because in 9th grade we focused on the movies as literature book. But there was not a Christmas one in there, so I gave her a criteria of movies that she could pick from based on literature for Christmas. So she picked one. And then if you haven't seen, my 8th grader I have several videos on this one. She is using American Girl / movies as literature for a history literature combination class, AP honors class, for 8th grade. So she's getting a little bit of the American Girl plus the movies as literature. So she picked 2 at Christmas time that will fall under the Christmas theming of movies. And then my oldest 2, they are under American literature. Sorry, this is their 3rd year. They're under American literature this year. So I had them pick an American literature that's based on Christmas for them to do for this year, and it's super fun. If you haven't seen any of those videos, I'll try to drop the descriptions down below. Last time I just did the list of the videos and everybody didn't like when I didn't put like the specific titles, so if I have time to, I'll go in and put the specific title. This is if you wanted just the 8th grade, just the 9th grade, just the 11th grade. And I don't think I actually put the actual grades. I think I just put like American movies as literature, movies as literature, British movies as literature, and then 8th grade was American Girl movies as literature, and then other movies we used to supplement for the ones that there's not movies for. Like American Girl didn't make a movie for Kaya, so we put a supplement in for her because Kaya is the first American Girl doll, and then we also follow history through that. But so yeah, that's number one, is for literature. Movies as literature, we do Christmas-based movies for movies as literature. Other things that we do for literature at Christmas time that I will count for literature for my kids. You don't hear my kids right now. They're in they're in the oldest 2 girls' room, and they're making Christmas cards for people. They're also making a birthday card for a friend who has a birthday at Christmas. But they're doing Christmas cards. Even if you pre-buy Christmas cards, having them sign off their signature on that, I would still count that as literature, because part of literature for high school and middle school is composition. It's writing things down, and it's also penmanship, and it's also like working together to create a project. So I will count doing Christmas cards as doing their literature. We also, every year, we go through a Christmas carol. There are several online resources where you can go and buy a unit study for it. I also have my friend Misty Lease, Get Your Own Homeschooling with Misty Lease, who has a Christmas Carol one. She also has the Narnia ones. We sometimes go through Narnia at Christmas time. Sometimes we go through The Hobbit at Christmas time. So like, find little things that your kids love to do and then kind of add that in. But like I said, for us, for literature, it's movies as literature, it's the Christmas cards, and then we'll read literature that's based on like that's Christmas themed, and then we will do some reports to go with it. I try to go a little more minimalistic with the reports at Christmas time, of kind of making it like, please don't do more than 1 to 2 pages of reports. And then I also always let them use Google Docs, because it gives them writing prompts and has the built-in dictionary with the thesaurus built into it. So if they get stumped, they can kind of just type it in and be like, I know I shouldn't put good, but my brain is stuck on the word good. How do I do this? So they'll put in the word good, and then they'll look through the adjectives on the list and be like, ah, that one works. And it also works as like their pre-spell check. I still go in and have to do edits, and I can highlight it, but it just makes it a lot easier for us to have that process of using Google Docs. When we're traveling, they do pin down, and then sometimes we do worksheets and they'll pin things down. So that's basically it for literature. So moving on to math. One of my favorite things to do for math in Christmas time is find like basically color by number worksheets. And I covered this a little bit at Thanksgiving when we did the holiday or homeschooling through the holidays. Some of this may be repetitive, but I'm trying to target specifically Christmas themed stuff for people who may have A, missed that video for Thanksgiving reasons, or B, just to kind of give people a Christmas focused video, if you know what I mean. So some of it's going to be repetitive, because I mean, homeschooling through the holidays and Christmas, it's still homeschooling through the holidays. Peppermint mocha coffee, definite must whenever the temperatures plummet, and take all the humidity out of the air. Also, we had our first flurry yesterday, so that was kind of fun too. So like I said, a lot of it may be repetitive, but I wanted to also focus back on the Christmas perspective. Oh, another thing back to literature real quick that we do is sometimes we'll go through and use different things for literature as well, of like writing prompts, of like I may give them a writing prompt with like a Christmas carol, a card, and an angel on it, and then they have to do a writing prompt. In the past we've done, and when the oldest one was in middle school, we also did a writing prompt of like nativity scene, how would you have felt if you were Mary, how do you think Joseph would have felt, and just writing prompts like, or if you were the innkeeper's wife, how do you think you would have felt, you know, just writing prompts like that. Also work really well if I feel like they just need more. And also those days I'm just like, you need to be doing school, but I'm really busy right now, I'm trying to wrap presents, here's something to do. And they actually my kids love writing prompts. They love taking it and be like, ooh, this is creative, let's do this. So, and they all have like creative writing journals that they do, so for them, they really love it. Math is a little bit harder, like I said. Honestly, my biggest go back is those color by number worksheets. I try to find Christmas themed, nativity themed ones, Bible based ones. And for the older kids, now that I have all older kids, I will do the like, hey, let's review just basic multiplication and division, because until you've taught like the higher maths, you have no idea how beneficial it is to sometimes reset your kids' brains by taking them back to fundamentals. We had one the other day that she just like, she'd done this math lesson in algebra for like a month, and like it just wasn't clicking. And then she realized that like she was getting so stressed, she wasn't even remembering basic like multiplication, counting by, you know, X number. And so like just going back for like a day on, let's just work on multiplication, it kind of resets their brain like, oh hey, yes, we can do this. It's just building one thing on top of another. So that's kind of a fun thing that I like to do. Plus, if they're doing color by number, it's kind of like a little bit of mystery with it too, of like, what is this picture going to look like when it's done? Or hey, this doesn't look quite right. Did I answer this question correctly? And it's also just like a not really stress thing, because it's not like this is your normal math curriculum, let's get it done. And there are some subjects, like when we did Becca up through 3rd grade, they did really well of like, they would change the worksheets to where they were more like Christmas based at the holidays. But then also like if your kids were either starting earlier or starting later, the Christmas ones didn't quite line up, which we had that happen once or twice. So it was a little bit different. This is more of a different concept of, let's step away from the actual written curriculum and let's go to the math worksheets. My other second fallback for math is baking. Christmas cookie making. I will have conversations with the kids. I will not tell them how to double the amount of butter that they need. If it's you know, a 3/4 of a cup of something and we're making a triple batch, they have to do the math for it. So I love, and I like my husband, that was the way he was taught fractions. He learned fractions at 4 years old because he was always in the kitchen doing stuff with his mom, and she had like 15 siblings. So like when she made candy in big batches and would send it to relatives, she would need to, and she also cooked a lot for her church and stuff too. So like they would, you know, triple, quadruple recipes. So that's how he learned, was that he just was a curious kid. And so he just started helping his mom baking, and then she started realizing, hey, he's kind of picking up on this. So yeah, math, or for math, my second fallback is, number one, the worksheets. Number two, let them bake, let them have fun, give them recipes, give them something new. Even if I'm busy, there's times now that they're older and I have taught them how to be safe in the kitchen. Now that they're older and they're within earshot, there's sometimes I can just say, hey, do you want to go bake cookies? Or they'll come to me and be like, can we bake cookies? We're like, yeah, sure, here's a recipe. And sometimes Matt and I will print recipes for them. Sometimes we'll make them go to an actual physical cookbook and find a recipe that they want to use. So let's move on to number 3, history. History is actually super easy for us because, like I said with movies and literature, when you do stuff like The Christmas Carol or like Samantha, one of my kids is acting up in the background. Go make cards. Sometimes when Matt is home when I'm filming, he'll be just like goofing off in the background, and now my kids have picked up on it, and now that they're older, they think it's cute. It's fine. I love them to death. But history is so easy for us because we already do, because I'm more history and literature based anyways. My oldest is also a history lover. She loves history. She just naturally picked up on it. We will actually like look at historical things in literature based around that time frame. So we'll have the conversation, and it may not be like a sit down history lesson question answer, which that's not really our style of teaching anyways. But it may be like, hey, when does the Christmas Carol take place? When does a Charlie Brown Christmas take place? Roughly just by Christopher Robin's clothing and mannerism and his speech pattern, when do you think that would have taken place in when he was growing up in England? And then like we look at that from all the different movies, and then like Isabel is a newer American Girl Christmas movie. Molly has a Christmas, so the 4 that have Christmas on them of the historical ones: Felicity, Molly, Samantha. Kit doesn't. No, Kit doesn't. Kit is Thanksgiving. Kit has Thanksgiving. So 3. But you can look at all those 3 and be like, how did they celebrate Christmas? And like, if I felt like they needed to do more writing, which I always believe if you're tying history into your movies as literature, then they're all together, and you don't need a separate writing assignment for history because your kids are already doing the history, or they're already doing the writing with the movies as literature, and they're already doing lengthy reports for it, detailed, and going like out of the box thinking for doing these reports. So I don't really add on more. But if I felt like they needed to, I could be like, give me a short paragraph about like, what do you think it would have been like to grow up in this time? What would you have done? What was some things that you liked and didn't like? For non-writing purposes, for middle school aged ones, the older American Girl books have like stepping into the past at the end of all of the books. And it shows pictures of real life during those times. I know the Molly one does, and it actually has a pattern for how to make a homemade ornament like from the 1940s. So find fun stuff like that. And then like, even if you can't find that in the books, there's all kinds of free resources online of like historical things, and you could make it hands-on. You could do a craft, or you could give them a craft and then like read them a history thing while they're doing the craft, or you could put on like a short documentary while they're doing the craft. So documentary, that brings me to number 4, science. My favorite thing to do for science this time of year is to just do documentaries. I kind of step back more from like doing the actual curriculum or even doing like any experiments or writing assignments, because they're already doing so much hands-on. And honestly, like I said, with math, science I believe is the same way. If you're in the kitchen and you're experimenting and you're tasting recipes to see what's missing, what does it need, what does this rising agent do, that's chemistry. So I love using cooking also for science, like edible science is what we call it. And like we also talk about like food contamination and food safety in the kitchen. I mean, there's a reason why nutrition and food is counted as both a science class, a health class, and an elective class, and a home ec class. It's all together. So for science, I love using cooking, but I also love using documentaries. And like, you'll catch on to this also in January, of like, whenever you're just tired of teaching in January and y'all are home all the time, which most people are home more, well, like Northern Hemisphere, most people are home all the time in January while homeschooling, and you can kind of get burnt out and get in a rut. And I'll kind of get into this in January too, but we'll find nature documentaries. If you're sick of seeing snow and you live in a snowy area, watch one on savanna animals. For us, we don't see as much snow here. Like, we don't live in a super heavy, thick snow area. Sometimes we don't even see snow before Christmas. Yesterday's flurry was like shock that we saw a flurry in November. We'll watch like Arctic documentaries, polar bears, penguins. Disney Plus has National Geographic. Netflix has BBC Earth, and so like you can find documentaries on most streaming services. Amazon, I think, also has some available. I think if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, Amazon also has some. Let me just go straight to Prime Video and see what happens if I type in documentaries. Actually, that's a lot. Wow, they have a lot. Nature documentaries. Yeah, so Wildest Place Pacific was the first one that popped up. And I'm muted. If I click on it, it's not going to click in. Yeah, so there's one called Wildest Places. And it's free on Amazon. I just pulled it up right now while filming it. I think you can't see it because I don't have my screen share on right now. Yeah, it says included with Prime. So as long as you have a Prime subscription, Wildest Places is included. They have Coral City, bays. It looks like they have a lot of like ocean themed ones for this one. What did I click on? Oh, South or Pacific. That's why. They have Australia. Planet Earth you have to buy. They have one on hummingbirds. Wild Colombia, Red Sea, elephants, the Galapagos Islands, Journey Through the Stars. Ooh, Wild North. That sounds like one I'm going to add to my list. Like, seriously, that would make my kids' day. The picture of it is actually a snow owl. Like, I don't remember what the actual name of it is called, but the white snowy owls. Yeah, so my kids and I love, like, snow owls, barn owls. We love the white-faced owls. They're so pretty. And then there's one on Antarctica. That's going to be really cool. I'm going to add that to my list. But yeah, those are free. Amazon just popped it up right now. So that's one of the things that we do for science, is we'll sit down and watch those documentaries. And also, like with my kids, I'll sit there and hold the remote because I have no problem going pause and be like, this is what we believe about creation, this is what they believe about creation. Or another thing that we'll talk about is like, if it's an older documentary, I may be like, hey, since this documentary was made, we actually found out this science fact about this area, and this is why this happens. Or here's a historical fact that kind of ties in with science, because I love tying science and history together. Now that I know that's a thing, I love tying science and history together. That is a lot about the core classes. Now, electives. For some states, other than Tennessee, I'll talk about this before as well. East Tennessee, or Tennessee, the state of Tennessee, homeschooling, the only class that has to be done every single day is math, and we do math. Outside of that, we are not required to really do all of our classes. But a slight spoiler to health class. So one of the things I did was with health class, I tied it into things that we are doing around Christmas time. That video will be coming very, very, very soon, and it's going to have a paid PDF if you want to buy it, to kind of A, help support our channel, and B, like if you just don't have the time to make your own health curriculum and you want like a springboard, that's what we're going to be doing, is selling a PDF of that for a minimal amount. For health class, like I planned everything to where it would be based around Christmas time, and again I'll get to that next year. For the art class, I have one that's doing baking or cooking, so I'm gonna have her do a lot more baking for December. For my two that are doing sewing, we're gonna work on some hand sewn projects. We're gonna work on I'm fine with like if they want to make stuffed animals to give the little kids, or presents for other people, or like making your own stocking. I may teach them how to do, I'm kind of waiting until January to do the sewing class, the sewing machine class I want to do with them, which is basically, you know, I'll get to that later as well, but like I'm going to be doing sewing. Art, for art, we have several art books, or I may print like a how to draw Santa Mickey, or how to draw this, or how to draw that. So for art we do those, and also like I also count like coloring to an extent as part of art. It can't just be like a basic kids art one. Like I will count, like if I print like a stained glass picture of like a Christmas scene on it, or a nativity scene, I would count that as art, because that's a lot of intricate detail, shading, coloring, hues and colors put together, things like that. PE class, we're doing a lot right now physically up and moving about, so PE, that's a lot easier. I can't think, oh, foreign language. So foreign language is one that it happens as it happens. I will sometimes, for foreign language, some people may consider this cheaty, some people consider this the only way that they teach it is immersion. And what we will do is I have one in Spanish and I have one in Japanese. What we will do is we will turn the subtitles on in English and then switch the audio to Spanish or to Japanese. Japanese is harder because like it's a lot of anime, and I don't like the kids watching a lot of anime because most of it's not kid friendly except for some Pokemon. So that one's a little bit harder. But like French, I know they make French cartoons for kids, so that one's a little bit easier, and one of mine's gonna be, I think one's taking French next year, I think. But for Spanish, mostly we'll turn like they'll watch Encanto again, and they'll watch it in Spanish with the English subtitles, and you'd be surprised how much they pick up for that. So that's pretty much it, you guys, of things that like ideas for doing it for Christmas. Just I know it's a little bit similar to the homeschooling through the holidays. I hope you kind of saw the difference of like Christmas specific of things that we mentioned, like Christmas Carol, Charlie Brown Christmas, things of that nature. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of our members for supporting this content and allowing us to continue making videos. And thank you to every single one of you, whether you're new or whether you're returning, for liking, watching, positive comments, and subscribing. Please, please, please drop all of your homeschooling questions down in the comments below, and we will see you next time.